Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Tim Aslan here with another crypto update. Man, what a market. Just dumping across the board. Dumping yesterday, the day before, another dump. It's crazy. So, I just want to come on here, share some charts, give you guys some context of where we're at. We're actually in a big zone that we've been talking about for quite some time on the channel. So, let's dive in and see what we can find on the charts. And as always, hope you guys are well. So let's get in real quick. Basically, I wanted to start on the weekly time frame because it's very important to zoom out. We can see a few red candles here and think the world is ending, but zoom out. We're in a macro uptrend. This chart is absolutely amazing. If you bought Bitcoin pretty much any time on this come up, you're still in profit. Um, but yeah, it is a little disheartening. Imagine buying Bitcoin right here in 2021, holding it this whole time, and now you're break even, right? So, unfortunately, that's the reality of this asset. I think it's completely undervalued right now, especially with what we've seen in the gold and equities market. And I do think it will play catch up very soon. So, let's take a look at what we have. The first thing that I want to draw your attention to that I think is extremely important is the RSI. So the RSI is a relative strength index. It's an indicator on the chart. This is what it looks like. And basically, how traders use this is it measures if the price is overbought or oversold. So this is the range of the RSI. So it goes from 70 to 30. Anywhere in between that is considered kind of neutral. Anything on the higher end, closer to 70, is considered overbought. Anything on the lower end, closer to 30, is considered oversold. Now you can see at this 2024 top, it was severely overbought. We had a big correction. And then, it didn't even go that low on the RSI. It went to around 45 before bottoming. And from 45, it took us from 50K all the way to 125K, right? So that's just at the RSI resetting around 45, right? Now, if you look where we currently are, we're at about 31. That is extreme oversold levels that we haven't even seen for a long time. Last year, you can see where my cursor is right now. This is the start of 2025. So in the last year, we've never been under, 43, right? So check this out. Now we're at 30. And I want to draw your attention to this. When was the last time we were at 30? So we can go back all the way here. You can see right here, November 2022, we were at 30 last time. What happened in November 2022, guys? FTX went bankrupt and they sold a bunch of their coins, like crazy market panic. And that was the last time we were this oversold. And check that out. What's the price of Bitcoin at that point? 16,000. And after the RSI hit that point, we went from $16,000 to $125,000, right? Think about that. And we're just as oversold as we were back then. So this is really, really important for context. Now, we also have in June 2022, this was a significant local bottom, around 17K. You can see we were even lower. We were around 26. So the reason I mentioned that is because, this is a weekly measurement. We're on the weekly chart. So it can take some time for the actual, bottom to form. This took a few months. But if you would have purchased Bitcoin anytime that the RSI got under 30, which would be right here, all the way till November, you would have been buying between 20,000 and 15 or 16,000, and you would have been extremely happy. So, traders often overcomplicate things, myself included. We draw all these Fibonacci lines, we use all these volume tools, etc. But sometimes all you need is one indicator, which is the RSI. And if you look back in Bitcoin's history, the last time before 2022 that the RSI was this low was right here, March 2022. Do you guys remember what happened in March 2022? That was the COVID-19 dip. And you can see we were at $3,800. Now, what happened the time before that? November 2018. We were at $3,000 again. So if you look back through Bitcoin's history, if you just purchased Bitcoin every single time that the RSI went to around 30, you would be making insane gains, insane. And so the fact that we are at $74,000 for one Bitcoin and the RSI is at 30, I mean, in my opinion, I think this is going to be a launch pad. I don't think the bottom is 100% in yet. It might be, but I do think anything between now and 60K, around that range, will be where the bottom is. And on top of that, I think you shouldn't be waiting for 60 exactly to buy. I think anywhere now between then, you should be dollar cost averaging. You should be getting ready for the next move up. Sentiment is at an all-time low. RSI is near extreme levels. And I think it's time to take a breath and while everyone's panicking, start stacking. Now, this also brings me to the daily chart. If you look at our daily RSI, we're actually below the range. You can see on the daily RSI, we're around 23. Okay. The last time we were this low was November of 2025. Not that long ago. Now, was this a, life-changing crazy bottom? No, it wasn't. But what happened from there was a 20% move up, which is huge. The time before that, you can look, was February 2025. Was that a crazy bottom? No, it wasn't really. But what happened? 21% move up. And then that actually developed, which created a bullish divergence on the RSI. And then that was our launch pad all the way to 125K. Let's look back even further. Let's look at the last time, August 2024. What happened then? We had some crazy range, right? Finally made this low. RSI hit 26. Okay. What was price? 49,000. What happened after that? Turned from 49,000 to 125,000. So we are extremely close to a bottom, whether that be a macro bottom or whether that be just a local bottom. One last thing on the RSI before I dive into some other TA. I want to point out something. Those previous examples I gave of the daily RSI being this low did not have a weekly RSI that low as well. So pay attention to that. So for example, February 2025, right? This area was a significant weekly low before we hit 125K. RSI extremely low on the daily. But on the weekly, if we go to February 2025, right around here, the weekly was at 42. It was at around the middle. It wasn't even that low. So now we're both having the daily RSI extremely low, and we're also having the weekly RSI extremely low. This does not happen very often where you have both in these extremes on Bitcoin. So I think for that reason, this will be even more powerful to play out. Now I have another indicator. It's similar to the RSI, but it also uses some other mathematical convergences to create this pattern. And you can see this one happens a little bit more often than the weekly RSI. So again, we're on the weekly time frame. But anytime we print a green box like this, we get a significant bottom. Now it does take some time to play out. So you can see back here, we first printed that at around 18K, and it took some time to play out, but that ultimately ended up being a significant low. Same thing here, printed a green box around 33K. That ended up being a strong local bottom. Price almost doubled from there. Same thing here. There's that, February to April kind of window of 2025. Green box printed, significant low. And now you can see here, we've been printing this green box for a few months now, telling us that this entire section is a value area. So that adds further confluence to what I was saying before. So if you've been on this channel, you know I don't really use these indicators very much in my day-to-day trading, but I think they're very important on the macro. I think they're very telling on the macro as well. So let's go into the smaller time frame technical analysis first. So I gave this scenario a few days ago. Looks like we're dropping today. But basically, there were two main areas of interest I had on Bitcoin. The first one we're in right now, and the confluence for that was the 2025 low mixed with one of the 2025 all-time highs and the TR pocket of this range. Now you can see we actually did have a pretty significant bounce from this low. That was yesterday, if you guys were paying attention. It was about a 5 or 6% bounce from that liquidity sweep. So, nothing crazy, but it was good to see at least the reaction of that zone. However, it does not look very strong right now. We still haven't broken below the zone, but I'm assuming we will. So based on that, what I would be looking at is two things. Sometimes when we go into these high probability zones, the bottoms take a long time to form. So we could be ranging in this area for a while, and we could actually sweep this low additionally, and then this one could be the bottom where we have that move up. Now the reason that happens is because when we get a strong low like this and then start to pump quick, a lot of people had a similar area on their chart and they think, oh, okay, this was the low. And so what happens is a lot of people start longing in this area. They go long, 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 long. Then they put their stop loss at the low because they think, okay, that's a great low now. And then what happens is we just sweep them, take them all out, and continue up. So that's scenario number one. Now, if we do continue dropping further than something of a liquidity sweep, that would give me more confidence that we would be going to the next area. So the next area is, number one, we have the 2021 all-time high. That's all the way back from here. You can see that we never fully retested that. We retested a similar scenario from the 2024 all-time high where we pumped up, retested it, and continued up. So I think this would be a strong support level if given. That's around 69,000. And then lastly, this area is very nice. We have a few very good confluences. And again, this is only if we go down now from here. We have the 786 if you pull your fib from this low to this high, which is a very strong Fibonacci level. It's also a harmonic ratio. There's a large harmonic pattern here, similar area. And then we also have this range deviation. So you can see that if you draw the range like this is your range high, this is your range low. You can see if you pull this TR pocket fib from those spots, this fib area gave us the perfect all-time high top. So now what happens is sometimes we deviate the range to the opposite side. and that would match that 786 really nice all the way till around the low 60s. Now also you can see that when you look left of the chart, you can see a lot of support area. For example, if price was in this kind of zone, you can see that we have very thin support. Price was almost a straight line there, right? But in this zone, we have tons of volume that was traded. This was almost like 6 months, 6 to 8 months of volume being traded in this range. So this is a very strong volume zone on the chart. And what you can do is you can actually pull your volume profile tool from that entire range, and it'll give you the point with the highest volume of Bitcoin traded. And that's right at 63,000. So that means that if you extend this line right here, 63,000 is a strong volume support, right? And that's also prevalent even more if you look to the left. This exact kind of area was a big support resistance zone back on this all-time high. You can see right here, we tested it multiple times, and we can draw that line all the way across. So that would be a very strong zone if we go down there now. Now, my main thesis is still a relief rally at the minimum, kind of around where we are now. Maybe we get that liquidity sweep and go up. But personally, I don't think it makes sense to just go straight there right now. I think these bottoms take a bit of time. So I think the most likely scenario would be we get a liquidity sweep, or we just go up kind of now, and we get kind of this like relief bounce. It could retest that yearly open. It could even sweep this liquidity up here. But I think at the minimum, we get some sort of relief bounce soon. And if buyers cannot maintain that, then we'll go down one last time to create a bigger pattern. And then we would go up from there. Now, with that being said, we're not 100% sure that we even need to go to these levels down here. You know, this could be the macro bottom. I'm not 100% sure. Nobody is, okay? The point that I'm trying to make of this video is that we are closer to a bottom than ever before, but we also need to remain patient. There's two types of capitulation. There's price-based capitulation and there's time-based capitulation. Right now we're getting price-based capitulation where we're having these crazy moves down. People are starting to get scared and sell. The next thing that happens after that, where you can see in this scenario, is these bottoms take a long time to form. And if you were back trading around this area, people were giving up. People were getting so annoyed. It was taking 8 months. Every time we had a pump, it just got nuked for 8 months straight. And a lot of people left the market at that time. So don't think we'll just go straight down and then boom, straight up to 100K. These things do take time, and that's good for us. You know, you might think, oh, I want, 200K Bitcoin right now. But honestly, you don't. Honestly, you want to have a range where you can accumulate for months on end. You can take your paycheck. You can take your business income. You can accumulate Bitcoin, Ethereum, and if you have any altcoins that you like, and you can be patient and you can accumulate. Put yourself in the shoes of these big institutions. They don't just buy once and forget about it. Every single day they accumulate, they wait. When the bags are packed, they know that they're going to send it up. And we'll go to Valhalla. Okay? Anyways, guys, that's enough of my rant. If you like my content, there's a free Telegram link below. In the future, I'll be sharing trades there, so make sure to join that. And if you want to support the channel, we partner with BitUnex. There's a crazy deposit bonus campaign, so go check that link below. You can deposit some funds, get some extra funds, and you can trade this range. So make sure to manage risk properly. I'll see you all in the next video.